microphone like that. That might work, but it's not the ideal solution. And it's probably going to take a few seconds for that to, yeah. So if this is not ideal, but it works. So I can check my OBS settings, but I'll tell you what's happening basically. I freaking cleared, I had a little problem logging into the Red Hat Linux training website. Oh, and I have echoes now. There we go. I turned off the mute. So yeah, basically what happened was like I changed my OBS settings. So I have some audio filters here. And so essentially my microphone is supposed to be set to monitor and output. Am I still echoing? And then OBS takes the audio, it filters it, then it goes to my Windows sound settings, and in the Windows sound settings, oh, I'm echoing in YouTube, that's why I think I hear myself. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that echo. And so essentially it goes here. And then I think there's an option here that says reroute it or some crazy thing like that. I may have done that wrong. So we got virtual audio cable here. And we got virtual audio device here. And none of this should have been affected. But we're going to try one more trick because I mean, like, I have audio filters that are designed to filter out the air conditioner sound. Testing 1, 2. So when I select this virtual audio, it's supposed to work. And I mean, I got a green bar here. So Restream is hearing me. Now, oh, I think it's working now. Now, there's only one more problem. I'm going to have to open this up on my phone to be sure. Because I hear myself talking, and I don't usually hear myself talking. So I got to rule that out. I got to see if that's actually the case. And how you doing, Spock? Hope you're having a fine evening. Yeah, I don't usually hear myself talk, so I'm concerned that, like, we're getting reverb. Are you getting reverb? Are you hearing my voice twice? Testing 1, 2. We're good. Test. Okay, we're looking good here. So unless we hear any reverb, I'm going to assume that we're good to go. I'm not really sure why I can hear myself talking now. I might have accidentally turned on a setting that plays my voice back in a loop or some insane thing like that. Yeah, like, I mean, I don't have to... Oh, there we go. Okay, my mistake. We're good now. So I was hearing myself talk in a loop because of Rumble. So now we're good. We're good, 100% good. So the way my OBS is configured, and it's like just, I guess, a fun academic moment is, yeah, basically we have an audio filter running. In fact, it's not really a filter. I installed a virtual sound device in Windows called VB Virtual Audio Cable. And so what happens is I use OBS to give me filtered audio for my microphone, compressor and expander filter. And then in the Windows sound control panel, which is, I'm going to drag it to my monitor here, we have two devices. So when I speak into my filtered audio in OBS, it actually sends the audio to this virtual output, this playback device. Then I think it goes and sends that output to a virtual input. And so when you have this virtual microphone, which is an input, which is what Windows is hearing, you tell Restream to listen to that device. And so that's why instead of selecting my microphone directly, I select the virtual audio cable, because it's pulling that virtual sound device, which is pulling sound from the filtered audio track. But we're going to go right into this now that it's working. So thank you for your patience, and thank you for notifying me the sound was out so that I don't waste my time. And let's click on this thing, and yeah, you consistently tune in, Spock, so I will have to investigate getting the YouTube chat. So, the customer is always right. If you want to get an audiobook review, let me know. But I'm going to dive right into my plan. In fact, I should get a picture of the Strike, because the Strike is an integral part of this. I should definitely get my Bluetooth keyboard hooked up so that I can like alternate to and use it whenever I need to. So I'm building a puppet. I'm building my first puppet. And as part of building this first puppet, I picked up this fabric. It's like a chrome fabric. It's got white felt and chrome on the opposite side. Or, yeah, basically the side that's facing the object. So I did an experimental gluing. I took a toothpick, I stuffed it inside a piece of triangular foam, and I wrapped it around the foam with the toothpick or Q-tip reinforcing it. It's got a bamboo core, so that should be pretty strong. And this one is not perfect. You got some hot glue on the back side, but the way I see it, I can use this still to create some spikes or spike-like objects. I also have some barbed wire. Now, why do I have barbed wire for a puppet? Well, I think the best way to really show is to show you who or what the Strike is. And the Strike is a creature from the Hyperion Cantos, a series of books written by Dan Simmons. And the audio versions are exceptional, and the print versions are exceptional, but sometimes you get to these like slow parts of the book where like they prod on, and it could be nice to have the the audio instead, especially if you listen to it before bed, which is what I like to do with audiobooks. So this is a Palestinian man from Mars who served in the military of the hegemony of man. And yeah, he's wearing like this cool, like, super soldier suit. And it's good to see you, Wakazashi Gray. We gotta click on a button to bring you up, I think. There we go. Oh yeah, I put that up like that a while ago. Ohio, or I should say good afternoon from Japan. I'm just about to go to, oh, nice. Glad to see you, mate. Love Hyperion. Yeah, right? It's like really, like, Hyperion is the reason, Gray, and I got, Gray on YouTube. We got Spock's Friday Nights on Rumble. Is the reason I read books recreationally. It is because of Hyperion, and why I read started reading the most recent series called Crash Dive about American attack submarines during World War II. And yeah, cool book. But anyway, man, good luck. Have fun at the dentist, or at least, have a pain-free experience or what have you. But hey, having an option to go to a dentist is half the battle. And so, in places where people don't always have that option, it's good to have the option, right? I mean, dude, after reading Hyperion, I read some of Dan Simmons's other work, and it was pretty good. Like, I read The Terror, which is about, basically like the doomed Franklin expedition. I read Flashback, which gets a lot of flack because a lot of like left-leaning people don't like that there's a character in the book that denies climate change. And it's like, dude, it's a character. Suspend your disbelief and enjoy the stupid book, And people, can't do that. They like to associate the author's political leanings with the characters, and then like they'll say they loved Hyperion, but now they can't read Simmons because of that book. It's like, dude, chill out. But yeah, no, very good author. And when I write, I feel like I have to keep trying again because it's going to be hard to match his writing prowess. But jokes aside, you can't compare yourself to other writers. So I'm going to make a puppet of the Strike, and that's what we're looking at on the screen. And there's many renditions of this Strike. I mean, on the book cover of Hyperion Book 1, it doesn't look quite like this. On one of the other books, the Shrike only has 2 arms instead of 4. But yeah, the Shrike is like an indestructible Terminator-like robot from the future, made out of an indestructible alloy that resembles chrome, with infinitely sharp spikes sticking out from various sides, protruding out. Like, you touch that spike, like if the Shrike isn't attacking you, if the Shrike is in a friendly mindset and you touch the edge of those spikes, you'll get cut instantly. Like, you won't necessarily bleed to death, but like, he's sharp. And in this case, I think there's some lightning because they're like in a desert with some electrical activity or something. But yeah, pretty indestructible of a creature. And the only thing that could fight the Shrike or attempt to fight the Shrike was a creature called the Nemesis thing, Ramadoff Nemesis, and even that creature had a hard time fighting the Shrike. So basically, I created this thing because my idea is to create like a large, like central body covered in chrome fabric like this, and then attach little pointy bits, like have these little triangles sticking out in various parts. So maybe I'll create a rib cage, and then I'll have like doom doom, like, you know, just throughout the chest. I bought some barbed wire, which I don't know if I'm actually going to use, but I thought that would be kind of fun. And you know, so I want to create a Shrike, and I even have like those puppet rods, like, you know, where Punkwaddle and Floral and Snowdub, when they're operating a puppet, they have these metal rods that they, you know, hold in order to move the arms around. I have 4 rods, so if I get far enough to build a working puppet, I will be able to, you know, I will have to figure out, or try to figure out, how to operate the arms using 4 rods, or maybe I can use a string on both top arms to connect the bottom arm and operate it like that. Got a couple of ideas, and I also have this green. I have like a large amount of green gaffer's tape because, see, like, you can't see the tape because it's invisible. Okay, yeah. So basically, this green tape is gonna be what I wrap around the control rod in order to you know, cover up the, you know, to hide the metal rods. So anyway, that's the first piece, is the chrome fabric. Then I said, well, is there a better way to get more control? Because I mean, I'm going to keep experimenting. I think styrofoam, like a harder, firmer styrofoam, would be a better choice. But before I go that route, I want to see, can I do something with this? And I realized that the thorns on the Shrike, some of them do have a roundish shape, you know, in many different renditions. Because I mean, the Shrike comes in many forms. I mean, like, that's just one of them. You got this fast time suit thing fighting another Shrike. The Shrike is generally seen as being like 3 meters tall, but I think in one of the books, the Shrike shows up as being like 20 meters tall, or some insane height. But you got like many renditions, and if you find the Japanese book covers of Hyperion, they look really cool. You know, we got so many renditions of the Shrike, you know. And some of it's a matter of preference, but it is definitely clearly described as having a spike or spikes protruding out of the chest itself. And it doesn't really have swords, but, you know, this one has some swords on it. But this one is pretty accurate. It has a big spike sticking out of the chest. This one's pretty accurate. It has a big spike sticking out of the chest, although it's a little bit different than what I would expect. This is the book cover one, and so you sort of have to suspend disbelief and assume that a couple of the arms are hiding in the front or somewhere else. This one is from the 4th book in the series, Rise of Endymion, and this is the mountains of Tian Shan. And Tian Shan is short for Mountains of Heaven. And somewhere I have a picture from this book cover that is like an extended picture that gives you like a much wider vista. And basically on this planet, you have like pagodas and stuff built on mountains and little rope bridges. And if you fall down into the cloudy atmosphere, if you get low enough into the cloudy atmosphere, there are phosgene clouds. So basically, like, you have to be at a high altitude on this planet, Tian Shan, in order to not get poisoned by the low altitude gases, which are heavier. So yeah, it's kind of cool. And I feel like this would be a really fun puppet to attempt to produce, or to figure out how to produce. whatever form I go with. And luckily, there's so many renditions that I don't have to keep to an exact design. Like, you know, I think this one looks way too anthropomorphic. Although it is very nice art. That's from New Star Trek, which I don't care about. No offense if somebody likes New Star Trek here. You know, but there's just so many renditions of this strike, and one thing is that, like, you know, you get like a vibrant landscape of art. You got this cartoonish looking strike, which is like not super accurate, but the guy did a pretty good job of like doing like multiple characters from the book. So yeah, that is basically our creature there. So what we're gonna do now is, yeah, right. It could totally, New Star Trek can totally suck it, Spock. You are right. That's what Spock Friday Nights says. Spock's Friday Nights says. So anyway, let's see what we can do here. So what I did was I basically took a triangular cut of gray foam, gray felt. I shoved some polyfill in there, which is like, you know, not like poly, like, you know, when you know that girl who says she's poly because she's polyamorous, which I'm sure some of us know poly people. But I'm talking like poly as in like poly material or something like that, you know, but not polyamorous foam, because then it might have an STD. But yeah, you know, my idea is to like try something with a foam wrapped with this chrome, and then try something where we take the poly foam and we like, we try to like wrap it around itself, basically. We try to like, now, like I said, this hot glue gun has 2 temperature modes. And it's designed to be used in low temp mode when you're working on something like, that's hot. When you're working on this. Now, this is part of why I'm doing this right now, just to gain experience, because I'm sure I'm not doing a great, perfect job, but I'm learning how to work with this material. And I do want to give a shout out to Moira Kitty. Oh, the Song of Kali. So I only read part of that book, but I do want to, I only read like a chapter of it, but I want to finish it because somebody was whining that Dan Simmons had a ethnocentric racist point of view of Indian people, and I'm like, I doubt it. I think it was because he was talking about like a Hindu death cult or some shit like that. But I'm gonna explore that book and I'll judge it on its own merit, like I did with the other book. And Moira Kitty, it's wonderful to see you, and thanks for dropping in. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm just working on a puppet of the strike, although I'm still learning here. And I just dropped my paint stick. It's right here. I can see it, but I can't feel it. Ah, yeah, there we go. So, you know, as I was pointing out, the strike is this creature here from the Hyperion Cantos by Dan Simmons. So, I might have put too much foam in here. But I'm hoping that, like, I can do my own puppeteering for, like, entertainment, comedic purposes and whatnot. And if I can get good at it, that would be cool, too. You know, be like be like the next, or be like another Jim Henson, you know? Because I gotta say, like, Jim Henson, he had a legacy. I mean, like, dude, anybody who watched Farscape knows the legacy of Jim Henson and his Creature Shop. It's like, they did all of the Alien Muppets for Farscape. People might bitch about Muppets in Star Wars Return of the Jedi. I kind of respect the view on that, but, like, come on, you watch, no offense to Star Trek, Spock, I love Star Trek, but, you know, one problem I've always had with Star Trek, even as a kid, was, like, on Voyager, like, many times they would meet a new alien, and it was just, like, especially on Voyager, they started, like, abusing it. They would just have, like, new nose ridges, you know, they would have, like, ridges on the nose, like the Bajorans, and then the next alien for the following week would have, like, extra nostrils. And, like, they would just find, like, different variations of nose ridges. And I respect that, you know, you can't constantly bust your ass trying to come up with, like, new, like, you know, complex aliens on a week-to-week basis. But you know, one thing I like about Muppets in sci-fi and CGI, like when the Species 8472 came onto the scene, I don't remember what their real name is, but you know, we always called them that. When they came onto the scene, I was like, yeah, I could tell it's CGI, computer-generated imagery. Which I used to be religious. I used to hate when people called computer-generated graphics or computer graphics CG. I used to hate when people called CGI. Because I was like, oh man, it's computer graphics. What the hell does the I mean? And then I found out that the I actually means imagery. So even if it's an animated sequence is a sequence of imagery, still frames. And so now I do use the term CGI instead of CG. But also, if I'm not talking clearly at times, it helps because then, you know, that extra letter sort of like gives the person a better hint of what I'm saying. So could I put more foam in here? Maybe. But I'd say this is working okay. I really like this glue gun. It's got a nice big trigger on it. It's got like an easy to control temperature. And you can like really like control the flow on it. Now, like I said, I'm running it in low temperature mode. It's generally easy to run this hot glue gun in high temperature mode. But it's not too bad in low temperature mode. And if you're trying to avoid melting some kind of materials, it's the way to go. And I mean, like, I wish I had like a better way like to control it, like maybe like a hot knife or something like that. So I can like smear it on. But this isn't terrible. I just gotta learn. And once again, like, I think what's gonna happen is like I'm gonna have to figure out like where I want the glue to be visible, because that's where I'm gonna hide the glue. You know, if I tape it to the chest of the creature, the glue is gonna be like facing back. But I think we have about enough glue. Maybe I'm gonna put a little more glue on here so it doesn't unseal, and then we're gonna attempt to wrap it in chrome fabric just to see how this works. And then at some point after this, I'm gonna have to really work on the body of the creature. But I really just want to see like how this can come out right now, like just the basic parts, like get an idea of what it's like to work with this material. I'm gonna try to bring the camera down to a lower angle. That's what she said. So you know, you can see some of the issues I encounter here, and we could try to press it together. I might be overdoing it on the glue just a little bit, but we're gonna wrap it anyway, so it's not really a big deal. But let's go ahead and attempt to wrap it. Now, I don't know if this is enough material, but we can always grab a larger strip of material if we need to. I would like to try to use what I have left just so I can avoid wasting. But it might be a good idea to cut a slightly larger strip of material. Yeah, I would go for a slightly larger piece of material And then we're gonna do an audiobook review real quick. We're gonna do 2 audiobook reviews, but essentially because it's 2 books written by the same author. And I should probably, like, when I do a larger piece, I should probably get in the habit of drawing it up on an art program like Adobe Illustrator, or even with a ruler and pencil. But I just want to go straight into building my thing. So we're gonna go and see how far we get. So anyway, got chrome fabric, which, you know, is chrome in color, or chrome textured, chrome like. And then, you know, we can just kind of haphazardly wrap it. We could see if there's a better way to do this, but so yeah, my brother had a baby the other, I mean, he didn't have a baby the other day, but his wife had a baby the other day. So I mean, he's got a nephew, and it's a boy. So does that mean I don't have to procreate anymore? Like, you know, am I good now? Like, I mean, like, you know, I guess like my dad has a grandchild now, so that's some DNA of his that's going to be out in the wild in the future that can potentially produce a kid. Then again, with like the possibility that kids can make decisions to become, you know, not into procreation. I mean, like I had a friend at work, and his attitude was like, well, you know, I don't want to procreate because, like, you know, in this day and age, with whether it be overpopulation or some other factor, they just weren't crazy about the idea. And I can respect that stance, but the way I see it, the ultra wealthy, they're going to keep producing kids anyway. And it's like, if they're going to produce kids, then it's like, they better not tell me I can't produce kids, for example. But that being besides the point, you know, like, it's just like, also like a lot of the problems in the world, a lot of ills of society, or, you know, environmental ills, some of them are caused by wealthy people, you know? Like, I mean, like we didn't get to choose. We didn't get to choose how the power structure of the world is, or how, you know, how Mr. Rockefeller makes his money off of oil and stuff. You know, that wasn't my choice, or not even the climate stuff, but the pollutants in the ocean that could potentially, in the long term, really mess up the ocean and thereby impact our ability to produce oxygen. Because, I mean, it's not the freaking Amazon forest that makes oxygen. It's the algae in the ocean. So one trick you could do is, if you want the glue to keep having longer working time, is like lop on more glue. In this case, I should probably have used the higher temperature mode, but it's gonna wing it at this point. Because I kind of like spoke for so long that I forgot to like spend some time putting the glue down. And I think like the goal in the long term is to like give it a tighter look, you know, like I want this metallic fabric to be like more snug, so that it doesn't have any bumps in it, you know. He's like, the type of creature we're dealing with shouldn't have any bumps in its skin. I can feel the hot glue through the material, but it's already hardening. I might just put the glue in a higher temperature so that I get more working time on it, because the low temperature definitely doesn't, you know, help you get a long working time. Also, I probably would want to like put some glue on the inside next time, so that it can like sort of like, you know, settle down a bit. We're gonna put the temperature up. Oh god, almost melted my wire. There we go. See, I don't know what I'm doing really, but I kind of have a general idea how to operate a hot glue gun, and that's where I'm at right now, you know? And I think it's kind of working. But we're gonna jump over to audiobook review as soon as I get this last piece, kind of this particular piece completed here. Now we're not gonna go dive deep, not into this thing here, but you know, we got some glue on the outside, but that should be able to fleck off pretty easily. Or maybe not. I mean, maybe it's gotta cool down before I can fleck it off. I wonder if there's a way to clean hot glue without heating it up. Yeah, so we put a lot of glue in the top of that point there. Yeah, I'm a little bit at a loss. This is why it's good to probably mark these up before you slice them up. I gotta spend some quality time with my tortoise tomorrow. He seems to be like less active this particular season when the air conditioner is running, and you know, I want to see if I can do anything to like make my tortoise happy. Okay, I have an idea. I think what we want to do is we want to like fold and then fold it over again. Because if we put this part over like this, then you can see the white seam or the white edge. But if we fold it and then roll it, then we can't see the white seam. Now, this particular methodology can potentially waste a lot of material, but we're going to explore this anyway and see how far we get. If that's enough extra material, we could do something with that. So what I would do here is I'm going to fold it over like this, and I'm going to roll it over like that, maybe? Yeah. In fact, I got it. This is what we're going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Should I keep it in high temperature mode? Yes. I might be using the hot glue at a prodigious rate. I have 40 glue sticks left out of 45, but, you know, like, the one problem is I think when you buy the... Ow! Ow! Cunt! Fuck! Part of my language. That was hot. When you buy the Gorilla Glue hot sticks, you probably are paying a premium for the name. And, you know, it's like a one angle. They do claim to be like glue sticks that run at higher temperatures or that have like more working time and all of that, you know, and they adhere better to wood and glass, supposedly. Although I think with metal, the surface is a bit too small to give you great adhesion. There we go. So we did like a little like steam rolling on that. I'm gonna lower the temperature after all because I do like the idea of having like less working time on this. Although it looks like the high temperature does not adversely impact the performance of the glue, so that's good. So now what we want to do is we want to roll this over like this. Now to reload this, we just kind of put another stick in and then it pushes on the stick that's already in there. So it's a pretty good system. I might be putting too much hot glue on that, but I want to be darned sure that it works. Oh, and actually, I do have like this option here. I could take this tool and I could like clamp it like that. I don't know if that's helpful or not, but I don't see how it cannot be helpful, you know? I feel like that could be very useful for getting this to like, you know, shape to my will. If you get a large piece of hot glue on the wrong spot, it's better to not touch it until it dries, so that you can remove it as a nice hard piece as opposed to like it getting all gooey on you. Okay, so yeah, there's definitely some issue here because I'm rolling it with this like hot glue here, and it's like spreading the smearing marks on here. And maybe what I could do is like use multiple clamps like this to like it really like tap it down, you know? I did get hot glue on the end of this tool before, and I'm going to try to separate it right now. There we go. I bought this to build some stuff for my tortoise, and actually what's cool is now that I have this nice hot glue gun, I think it's going to come in really handy when I want to build stuff for my tortoise, because I was using like carpenter's glue, which is sort of like Elmer's glue, and although Elmer's glue works really well on wood, it isn't like necessarily ideal. So this one was a bit of a disaster here. So maybe I need more stuffing, and I could actually shove more stuffing here. What I like about the polyfill inside the felt is that it gives more rigidity or firmness to this, but definitely could see like where my mistakes were made and how I can improve upon this. But I think I can still find a way to use this. It's just I'm gonna have to like cut it a certain way and work something out, maybe even put another layer of material on the outside, which at that point I wouldn't normally double up on the chrome like material, because you know you only like, that's why I put the gray felt on the inside, so that I wouldn't have to double up on the material. I would only put one layer of gray felt on the inside and then like one layer of this on the outside basically. So I have to figure something out, but I have a couple of ideas. So anyway, now we're gonna do the final segment of today's stream, and that segment is going to be a couple of book reviews, and one of them is actually a preliminary book review. This is a book titled Crash Dive, written by Craig DeLuey, narrated by R.C. Bray. Who is R.C. Bray? Well, he is a audiobook narrator who looked like this when he was younger apparently, and looks like this more or less now, and he is probably well known for narrating the Expeditionary Force series by Craig Allenson. If this is the cover of book 1, Columbus Day, which is how do I phrase this, it's got an allegorical name to it. You know, you got aliens with more advanced technology invading Earth. You got this beam weapon here being used on what appears to be the surface of Earth to great effect. And there's like a bunch of books in this series. I mean, that's book 1. There are 15 books. Failure Mode was supposed to be the final book, but at the end of another book that the same author wrote, he indicated that he would be writing like 3 more books because he enjoyed writing it so much. Either that or he made so much money off of it. But either way, the book is pretty entertaining. Like, you can't take it too seriously, but it's pretty decent military sci-fi, and it's chock full of pop culture references, which would be a double-edged sword. Like, you know, watching Family Guy, where it's like Simpsons, they would often be doing something. Family Guy, they would be having flashbacks, you know? So that's, you know, a bit of this, but it's fun to listen to, especially like in the beginning. The character Lieutenant Joe Bishop meets a beer can, a beer can shaped AI. And, yeah, look at his chat message. Yeah, beer can shaped AI, and Skippy the AI is an asshole. And it's pretty funny watching Joe Bishop have some interplay with the asshole AI. It's really amusing. And then skipping ahead, there was an audio drama titled Homefront, and this is a shorter, listen, it's a shorter audio book, but they have an A-list cast. They have, the holographic doctor, Robert Picardo, holographic doctor from Star Trek Voyager. You still have R.C. Bray doing the main character, or a few of them. You have guy from Fake Spock. I mean, I shouldn't hold that against him. He did pretty well in this book, but Zachary Quinto did play the Fake Spock. And you got Captain Janeway, Kate Mulgrew. And the production value, even though the story is shorter, the production value is up there. You have quality audio. You got 2-channel stereo sound. Like, one day I accidentally put on 2 stereo headphones, and I was like blown away. I was like, oh god, it sounds really good. So yeah, there's that. But we're gonna dive into Crash Dive in just a moment. I just want to read the chat because I apparently was invited to join Spock's Friday Nights, and some lads on Alien vs Predator 2010 tomorrow. There's a movie called 2010 Tomorrow. I never saw it. No, I'm kidding. Jokes aside, I'm such a troll. What time is that at? Let me know. I see what I can do. Probably can show up, but as long as I don't go out tomorrow night, I could show up. But yeah, you just, shoot me the time, or if you need to DM me, let me know if you need a contact info or some way to contact me. If you want to just shoot it in the chat. But I will mark it on my calendar, and I probably would join, like, unless I go out at 10 p.m. or 9:30 p.m. when I visit my friend's house, oftentimes on Friday, which I may or may not do. But yeah, play by ear, but I'd like to join for that. Alien vs Predator. Shit, I gotta watch Alien vs Predator. So, disclaimer, I have yet to watch, 4:30 Pacific time. Oof. I wake up late, bro. No, I'm kidding. I got a bad habit of waking up late. I'm gonna play this by ear. What do you think here? Alien vs Predator. Let me just check if that's in my library. See if I can get caught up to speed. I'm gonna watch a little anime before bed, but maybe I squeeze that one in. I should be getting ready to wind down anyway, so watching Alien vs Predator might be a way to do that. Wait. Are you gonna be discussing the game or the movie? You indicate game is available on Steam. So, it's a 2010 video game. All right. Even better. Maybe it could be interesting to have an outsider's perspective. I gotta go to store. A PvP event. So in other words, I can get my ass handed to me by people who are better at playing games than me. I see the jig right now. Yeah. You just want someone to lose. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking around, Spock. But it is on sale apparently, so that's good. In fact, yeah, like they got like all kinds of shit here. They got the, I don't know if I'll be able to make it for the stream. It just depends if I wake up on time and like I'm ready and sparkling. But 4:30 Pacific, which I think is, oh god, is that like 1 p.m. New York time? I gotta double check here. Maybe I get to be fashionably late. Oh wait, that's what? Spock, am I misreading the time here? Oh, okay, wait, I mistyped it. I wrote 4:30 a.m. Pacific time. I meant to write p.m. Okay. I was gonna say, like, that's impossible. There was only like about a 3-hour difference. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be up at... Okay, that could work. That could work. That could pretty much work, I think, because even if I go out at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, whatever time, my dinner might disrupt it a little bit early unless I eat dinner early. See, I have to coordinate tomorrow, but yeah, I'll keep you posted. I guess I got you on Discord. Yeah, I got you in Discord, so I'll hit you up there, and I'll have to make sure I put this on my calendar so I don't forget. But yeah, I mean, we got options here, you know, and 7:30 is better than 1:30 p.m. I thought it was gonna be 1:30 p.m. I got my time zones flipped, so that's good. Discord's like, oh, you gotta update your username. I'm like, nah, I'm good right now. And I don't think DJ Ronnie G is an available username. Let's see, Spock is in Do Not Disturb mode, and I got a pending request from, oh, it's from a human being who's not human. Because that's definitely like some scammer lady. You know, when you got like a moderately cute lady trying to friend you on the internet, it's usually a... And I can choose who I can play as, whether I want to play as a predator. I don't want to be a predator. No, I'm kidding. Alien, Marine. I definitely recommend watching the breakdown videos. Okay. There will be 2 teams made up of whatever species you choose. Team Deathmatch. Team Rocket. No, I'm kidding. It's like Team Deathmatch. The term just reminds me of Team Rocket. But yeah, I'm going to add that to my reminder in a minute. And briefly, I'm going to continue the Crash Dive audiobook review. Basically, this is like about, yeah, a World War II submarine, about a crew member on it. It's sort of like written like Horatio Hornblower, supposedly, or inspired by it. It's an S-class submarine, which looks like this. And, you know, you got like your aerial or your receiver and transmitter antennae on it, which are in the form of these long, you know, things suspended on cables. I appreciate that, Spock. I hope I don't disappoint you. And, you know, real quick, I would ask, I usually like playing a gamepad, but I do find that I get good precision on the mouse. So I'll keep in mind, I'll try both. You know, sometimes I like having both the mouse and keyboard available so I can alternate. But, you know, if you have any recommendation on that front, I'll be open to suggestions. So yeah, S-type submarine, American sub. These were built actually in between 1920 something, 1918 to 1925, and they were in service from 1920 to 1946. And so by the time World War II rolls around, our main character is in like a 20 or 25 year old, about 20 something year old submarine. Cool. That's good you play on a gamepad, because I think gamepads are innovative. Nah, but joke aside, it's good to, like, you know, alternate sometimes. But yeah, I like gamepads. I mean, like, one reason, like, I use the Xbox controller is because there's not many gamepads that have native rumble support. So, you know, there's that. And the PS4 controller works like a dream on the Steam Deck. The PS4 controller does not work so well on the PC without third-party software. I've seen people succeed, but last time I got it to work, I kind of screwed up the settings, and then I was getting double inputs on everything I did. Publisher summary. Now you can download the entire Crash Dive series here. Got a little exclamation there. Crash Dive, the complete series, chronicles the adventures of Charlie Harrison as he fights the Imperial Japanese Navy during World War II. Gripping, action-packed, authentic, and filled with larger-than-life men and women of the greatest generation, Crash Dive puts you aboard a submarine during the war. You'll stand alongside Charlie as he proves himself time and time again by keeping his wits and being decisive in crisis through each encounter, though each encounter leaves him more heavily scarred for it. You'll attack a convoy in a daring night surface attack, emerge in a sea fog to ambush a battle group, and charge the battleship Yamato during the decisive battle of Leyte Gulf. All the while, you'll live with the crew in the cramped, noisy, and challenging machine that was a diesel-electric submarine. Crash Dive, the complete series, puts together for the first time all 6 episodes in Craig DeLuise' highly acclaimed historical military fiction series. Crash Dive, Silent Running, Battle Stations, Contact, Harry Curie, and Over the Hill. And I would like to note that Harry Curie, a co-worker told me that Harry Curie was a fake term made up by American servicemen because, you know, it sounded Japanese, but actually it is a real term. It's just that it's not the term that the Japanese utilized when referring to it. You know, obviously the correct term is seppuku, but Harry Curie literally translates to slicing the belly. And, well, you know, I would say, like, maybe if it wasn't used by the Japanese, maybe a English-speaking translator, you know, just decided, like, they sort of evidence of someone doing seppuku, and they didn't know what it was called, so they just decided to call it harikiri because, like, you know, they were like, oh, well, Japanese for slicing the belly is harikiri. But I don't know, I'm just guessing. I just thought that was an interesting fun fact. But yeah, R.C. Bray is a really good audiobook narrator, and I would maybe give like a brief excerpt because I don't know if that gets me copyright claimed. But I think it's like cool. Like sometimes a lot of audiobooks have some music and sound effects at the beginning, but like the rest of the book does not have sound effects. Some audiobooks do, this one doesn't. But the intro of this book does convey the submarine. See, like, that is the sound of a submarine creaking. You know, like when it's submerging and you got the metal sort of like compressing. In some submarines, in fact, many of them, I think, you can actually identify a detectable amount of shrinkage in height. But in general, like, you know, you're going to have some support structures between the bulkheads and whatnot. And things do creak, which I thought was kind of interesting, you know, and realistic. Although the rest of the book is just like, I can't find it now, but the guy who wrote Expeditionary Force did his own little blurb of the book, sort of like a review. And I, for the life of me, can't find it anymore. And that sucks because, like, it was a good review. It was like a clear review. Basically, he said in so many words that, well, I can't find it anyway, but he basically said that the book was clipped and short. Like, the dialogue was clipped and short, like the submarine, like Life on a Submarine, where everything is like, you know, down to the bolts. You know, you don't have any extra BS on a submarine, and that's sort of like how the dialogue is. And so basically he's saying that this author cuts the bullshit and gets to the point. And I respect that. I appreciate that. I think it's really cool. So yeah, I do recommend this book if you're into like realistic military science fiction, which is hardly fiction, but like it's fictional to an extent, but it's definitely based on real events. So, you know, that does carry a fair amount of realism. As for the Expeditionary Force, well, I know some people don't want to slog through a long series, but, you know, if you listen to book one and you like what you hear, you might like the rest of the books. You know, I think, like, especially if you're into audiobooks or if you like to do audiobooks on occasion, I actually wouldn't recommend Expeditionary Force in the print form. Although, if that's, you know, you're hell-bent on only reading your books, it might be an option, you know? So there's that. I don't want to ruin that book, and I've only read so little of this book, but, like, I just liked what I heard. I listened to it this morning when I was waking up a little bit late. I wasn't ready to get out of bed yet, and I literally browsed the Audible selection to see what books were for sale. And I found this, and I was glad I did. Like, I listened to like 4 sample books before getting to this book, and I was like, I really like this. This is so good. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. When I finish it, I will review it in greater detail. And at some point, I do need to review the Expeditionary Force series. But last time I recorded a review for this series, I re-recorded it like 10 to 12 times, and I think it was for like one of the last books. It'd be a little bit more challenging to do a review of the entire series unless I come up with like some way of like doing short reviews with a supercut, maybe. I don't know. I gotta figure something out. Maybe I'll reread it at some point, although I doubt it because it's a lot of listening time. I mean, 16 hours, 15 hours. I mean, it's like a lot of listening time. But then they have these short story novellas, which are like 5 hours long, and you know, like almost like, yeah, little novellas basically. Now, finally, I want to show you something cool. I have this USB power bank, and what it does is it has a cigarette lighter port, and it has USB Type-C that can put out 60 watts. It has 85 watt DC port, like the standard laptop charger port, right? And so if you like pull the cover down, it'll actually say DC in and out, because you could charge this using a regular laptop charger through this port or using a USB-C charger through this port. And you know, so the beauty of it is you don't need a specific charger to charge it. It'll work off pretty like common stuff. And then this other port here is just conventional USB and low wattage USB Type C. So it's like more like for a phone or a tablet. And then over here you have a cigarette lighter. You got the 15 amp automotive socket right here. And that's what it says. It says 12 volt, 15 amp output. And so we can plug a cigarette lighter plug. Now, why did I buy this? Well, you see, most like USB power banks and external laptop battery units, they have this annoying quality. Like if you're looking at the, what is it, the Blue Yeti or Jackery power bricks, they usually resemble like a lunchbox or a briefcase. They're kind of bulky looking. They definitely won't fit in your backpack easily. And they have built-in electrical outlets, which might seem cool, like, you know, especially if you have a MacBook, and if you have a MacBook that's really picky about what type of, you know, AC adapter that you can plug into it. Having the option to, you know, go and, like, you know, plug a regular AC plug, like a regular wall socket, into your, into a battery unit can be convenient when no other method of external battery device or battery power will work. But on most laptops and on most USB Type-C devices, this will happily work. As, you know, it does 60 watts on USB Type-C. My main laptop, or my laptop right now, does 45 watts, and my astronomy laptop does 90 watts. So I can run it at 85 because realistically it doesn't draw 90 watts unless I'm running a game with the GPU at full power and the CPU at full power while it's charging the battery. But if the battery is fully charged, it's not going to use 90 watts. And so, yeah, I find that this works out, you know. But at the same time, when I bought this thing, I said, well, what if I ever do want to plug an AC outlet in, you know, something with an AC plug into this power bank? Well, seeing that this had the cigarette lighter socket on it, meant that I can get the benefit of having a compact device that doesn't have a built-in power inverter. But when I do need it to plug in an AC device into it, I could buy a power inverter. This one is only 20 bucks. They go between $16 and $35, I guess, depending on the one you buy. But literally, you just plug the cigarette lighter plug into the, you know, battery bank I just had in my hand. And it makes a little noise because there's a fan in here, because power inverters can get pretty hot at full power. This one can output 175 watts. This hot glue gun says it only uses 14 watts, but I think the math is a little fuzzy because I think the DC draw is a bit higher, like 150 watts from the DC side of it. But either way, I've tested it, it works. So if I don't want to plug this into a wall socket on the other side of my desk, and I want to be able to easily unplug this hot glue gun, I can do that. So essentially, I plug this hot glue gun into this battery, into this power, you know, into this AC to DC to AC inverter. And I plug the DC to AC inverter into the Renogy power bank. And this power bank is really cool because it's also known for, it's really popular amongst CPAP machine owners who go camping or who need to power a CPAP machine while in an RV. And it also has like a couple of really cool features. It's got like a red light on it. In fact, this is a white light. So that's kind of useful if I ever need like fill light back here. Maybe I can like aim it at the green curtain to get more even lighting, which doesn't really help me, but you have that. And then there's also, when you hold the button down, I think it turns off the light eventually. Oh, there we go. And if I hold down the other button, I said if I hold down the other button, it's supposed to make a red light. And the red light I discovered by accident, but it is useful because you can use the red light when you're doing astrophotography. Ow! Now, I'm not sure why the red light's not working now. Maybe I have to unplug the DC inverter before the red light will work. Yeah, if the red light isn't working now, I might be doing something wrong. Oh, there we go. That was kind of accidental, but it worked. So, yeah, it might be hard to see the red light here, but it's a red light. And so, it looks like there's like 2 or 4 LEDs in here, and then there's multiple LEDs to give you the white light. But a red LED or red light is usually better when you're outside and you're trying to maintain your night vision. They use them on submarines, just like in that book I was just talking about. And, you know, pilots use them, especially in World War II or something like that. You know, they'll use red lights to illuminate their instrument panel. in order to avoid losing their night vision. But yeah, this thing here, I don't know how long it can run the hot glue gun. I got to do some voltage tests to like explore what the real draw is, but I know it can power high wattage. So even though this can only output up to 60 watts on USB-C and 85 watts, if I needed like significantly more wattage from this, I could use this power inverter to get up to 175 watts. So super exciting. I'm really glad. And it's working quite well. I've been using this on and off for hours, like a couple hours, and I somehow still have what appears to be like 90% power on here. It's got 4 out of 4 LEDs lit up on here right now. Now maybe I'm down to like 75%, but I'm what, 80%? It's not down to 75 yet. Oh, almost dropped that. But yeah, it works. So that's super cool. But anyway, we're gonna unplug this so I don't create a fire hazard. I can put some glue down here to make this fit on my desk, maybe. There we go. And we're gonna shut off the power. And the other reason that I don't like using power banks that have AC to DC or DC to AC inverters is because when an inverter is running, even if it's not drawing power, there's a base load where the inverter itself will consume a certain amount of power. So if you get one of those, say 10-minute or 15-minute uninterruptible power supplies for your PC, you'll actually get like 5 hours if it's running without any load on it. 4 or 5 hours with no load, and the 10 minutes is if you're drawing a certain amount of current or wattage and amperage from the device or machine. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, that's enough going in the weeds on the technical stuff there. I don't think we went that deep into the weeds. But anyway, I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank Wakazashi's Tea House for tuning in. I want to thank Moira Kitty for tuning in. And of course, I want to thank Spock's Thursday nights, because it's technically Thursday night, or Spock's Friday mornings. No, I'm joking, but Spock's Friday nights for tuning in and inviting me to join in the alien attack team. Well, it's not really an attack team. And if you're still there, let me know if you recommend purchasing a particular edition. It's only like $2.99 for the game itself. So, I mean, that's an easy sell right there, no doubt about it. And I love how they got my birthday wrong on here, but I'll just change it right now. I'll check the settings later. So, I'm thinking like, there's a collection. I'm just gonna like buy the $5 collection at this point. And then what's the bundle here? I don't think the bundle is anything I want, but let's take a look here. Sometimes the bundle is great, and other times the bundle is like, get the soundtrack for this game that you have yet to play yet. It's like, I don't want to buy the soundtrack to a game I have yet to play. Okay, so it looks like these are just other games. And actually, you did mention Colonial Marines Edition. I don't know if that's part of a bundle. I'd probably buy it anyway, because it's all 80% off right now. I'd probably just spend the whole $18, but I am exploring if I need it all. It looks like a pretty fun bundle. And if I want to dive into the Alien franchise, that would be good. I just hope that if I buy a bundle, it doesn't like disrupt the rest of the gameplay. Like it doesn't like put me in a situation where like I'm utilizing features that prevent me from being able to participate with other friends. But let's see here. Bought it on G2A. I don't even know what G2A is. That G2? No, it's GOG. It's GOG. Well, how the promotion ends tomorrow. I'm gonna buy the whole package. I'm gonna buy the whole bundle because it's only $18. It's like 80% off or some crazy shit. Like sometimes $93. And if the sale ends tomorrow, I lose out on the sale. So yeah, I'm gonna spend $18 now and get the whole thing. And you know what the other game I want to buy is Alien Fireteam. But like when it was new, like the big bundle was like $75 or some insane number like that. And as exciting as it looked at the game, I was just like not down to spend that guap on that game. I'm going to install this game on my F drive, which I still got to clean out some data on. But let's see, how many gigs is this game yet? Alien Isolation, which is probably not even necessary, but like I said, it's on sale, so I picked it up, is the biggest title from the entire set. If I was only installing like 15, in fact, yeah, my C drive still only has 40 gigs left. So I'm going to install it to my F drive, which is a 14 terabyte volume, and that has 1.7 terabytes left. And what I did recently was I was able to get some good news here. So this is a video encoder called Hybrid. And so when I get my Japanese anime Blu-rays or anything, I give it the input file. Now this particular series has like multiple chapters. So every 5 chapters is a new episode. And when you re-encode it, you want to do it in 5 chapter chunks so that you get individual episodes on the output end. And if you didn't re-encode it, you get like 5 gigs per 24-minute episode. But if you re-encode it, you get the episodes down between 900 megs and a gigabyte, which isn't perfect, but it's not bad. Especially the quality is like pretty much perfect at that point. Sometimes I'll experiment with different settings. And so like depending on the settings you use, like if you use the animation preset, it should make the file smaller, but it often generates like a humongous file. So right there's a 2 gig file. That's a 2.3 gig file. That's a 2.9, but basically like even these 1.5 gig files are a little bit on the large side. And what I can do is I can crank up the reduction in quality and probably wing a smaller file. And if I really want to experiment, I could probably do something like this. I could say take episode 1 from the box set, which would be, or like, you know, chapter 1 through 5, and I'm gonna do like, in fact, we're gonna do this one at 720p as an experiment. Whoops. And we're going to do like 2 settings. We're going to do rate factor, constant rate factor of 20. And a constant rate factor of 22 maybe. But the higher the rate factor, the lower your quality is. So of course now we want to do like 720p. Oh, wait, let me think here. Gotta do 1440. There we go. Wait a second. So we're gonna do 720p by telling it to take the width and keep it, because I do crop it because it's got black bars on the left and right pillar box, so you can actually take off like 480 pixels total from the left and right side, and then you would now have 960 by 720 or 1440 by 1080. So now we got that. I use the FLAC audio codec, which is free lossless audio codec, and so that's still gives you like a file that is like 200 megabytes smaller than the original PCM WAV file. Most of these other settings we can leave alone. We add it to the queue. We tell the program start the queue. And then we're going to do one more file because like I'm really OCD. Like I really am OCD about getting the best quality I can get while also minimizing file size. And I don't want to make any compromises, but my theory is if I'm willing to compromise to 720p for a Japanese anime that has very grainy imagery anyway, I'm not actually going to adversely impact my image. I'm still gonna have the original Blu-ray disc, so I can always reconvert it if I want absolutely need, you know, if I absolutely change my mind in the future. And I'm sure in the future it's quite possible that my tolerance for reduced quality might become lower. And so I may say, screw it, like I might tolerate a larger file, I should say. I'll be more tolerant of larger file sizes in the future. So here we go. We got that running 2D encoder. That takes a while. And so when I'm using OBS, I use the NVIDIA video encoder. And what that does is it uses no CPU power, but it uses like the video encoding part of my GPU. And so when I'm playing a game, it's not going to use too much of the 3D. It's not going to use a bunch of CPU power. The game will, you know, run better. Other applications that are more CPU intensive will run better. But what I learned was, as good as the NVIDIA video encoder is, it is, you'll either get, like, for the same file size as you get from a CPU-based software video encoder, you'll end up with a larger file. Or if you go for a smaller file size than what you'd get out of a CPU-based video encoder, or, you know, comparable file size that you get out of a software-based video encoder, you will see a reduction in quality. And so in order to get the same quality you get out of a CPU-based encoder, you have to tolerate a larger file size. On the other hand, a GPU video encoder can, you know, be more efficient. It uses less electricity and it does the job quicker a lot of times. And so if you can get the job done faster, then, you know, those are times where, like, the GPU is using less power than the CPU and is doing it for a shorter period of time. So, you know, you're conserving electricity, and not only is that a reduced power consumption from your computer, it's a reduced heat output, which, you know, on a laptop could affect wear and tear, or in an air-conditioned environment, especially if it's inhabited by humans, it's going to mean that the air conditioner in turn is going to be using more power. And I'm talking, like, you know, this computer could use between, like, 100 to 300 watts on average, and I've seen it used more, but generally I find that it tops off at, like, just above 300 watts with the GPU running. When you're running the air conditioner, that's an additional 500 watts, like, straight up. Like, maybe 400 if you're lucky, but, like, it get pretty significant. On more powerful graphics cards, now you're talking at 500 watts from the air conditioner, plus the you know, the 500 to 800 watt load that you may be dealing with on your computer. And you can see right now, my CPU, now, I'd say this is a rounded number, but the turbo is between 4.6 and 5 gigahertz. So even though it's a 3.6 gigahertz processor, the i9-9900K, it will throttle up into turbo mode at 4.68, possibly 5 gigahertz at times. And so if they tell you it only uses 95 watts at low power, it's perfectly capable of using more than 95 watts in its turbo mode, which I don't remember what it is, but it's more power. I'm using up half my RAM right now, which, granted, I have a lot of browser tabs open. I'm, you know, very indiscriminately running a lot of crap. My write speed to my 8 terabyte drive array, which is like 14 terabytes of usable capacity, we're using about 100 megabytes per second. It says 71 here right now. I don't know if that's the maximum, but that's what it says we're using right now. And I'm actually reading over the network. So on a gigabit connection, I'm using between 400 and 700 megabits per second, which rounds down to about 80 megabytes a second, like in megabytes, because megabits and megabytes are not the same. So, like, you know, it's not an exact number, but, you know, 1 gigabit is about 100 or 112 megabits a second. I'm sorry, 1 gigabit is about 110 or 112 megabytes a second. So, you know, 700, it's about 60, 70 megabytes a second, you know, straight up. And essentially when the GPU is doing this, now the GPU is going to be outputting a little more heat. But it's the CPU that's like the granddaddy of it all. And at present, I am using a Corsair AIO liquid cooler. And you can definitely hear the fan when it senses a higher temperature run at a higher RPM. And you can certainly feel more heat output out of the top of the case. And I stuck the radiator like under the top case fans, and then I stuck another fan under the radiator to push on it, because when I used to have the liquid cooling fan in the back of my case, it would run at higher RPMs, but it wasn't actually pushing more air over the radiator. And then when I flipped it backwards, it was a little better, but it would still be noticeably noisier whenever I was, running the CPU at high load. And so basically I was like, I gotta just put the fan like that. And I gotta do some modification on this case, but in order to get like a more balanced airflow. But part of moving that rear fan, which I flipped in the backwards position, which would seem crazy, but it makes sense. Even like years ago, Dell was making a bunch of Pentium 4 Prescott core computers that like there was no practical way to like put a direct airflow onto the CPU heatsink unless they put the fan backwards. So people thought that Dell was making a mistake putting the fan in backwards, and someone called Dell, and Dell was like, no, our engineering guys made that decision cautiously. And it made sense. Like, I understood why they did it. It seemed a little weird, but it made sense. And beyond that, what else did they do? I mean, I was like weird at the time, but it makes sense now. So that's why I felt encouraged when a friend suggested I do the same. I was like, you know what? Yeah, Dell used to do that. But at one point, I removed the dust covers on or like the vent on the front of my tower. In fact, I gotta rinse this off or dust it or vacuum it. But when I removed this dust cover, I felt positive airflow coming out of the front of that 5 1/4 bay. And I said, that might not be a bad thing, but I'm not really crazy about this situation because I already have like 2 fans in the front pulling air and pushing it through. So it's like something's got to give here. Maybe I would take one of my front case fans and set it to a higher RPM. I used to have adjustable case fans. I don't know if these case fans, I had to replace the original ones because they started getting like messed up, and so I bought slightly better fans. I actually bought fans that had LEDs on them. Just so that I could see the amount of dust. So I would have an idea, like if I can't see the LED light, it was a very faint blue LED. If I can't see the LEDs, I know it's about time to dust or remove dust from the screens on the front of the tower. Yeah, so there's that. But anywho, I think that about covers everything. I know I said goodbye already, but I'm gonna say goodbye one more time. And so real quick before I say goodbye, is depending on what settings you use in a video encoder. Okay, this is interesting. So I'm using 720p with a rate factor of 20, which means that I should have like no loss in quality aside from the reduced resolution. And we got the file size to be roughly half of what it was before, like 500 megs. So that's a good sign. And it would only take about 25 minutes. So it takes about as long as the episode, maybe a little bit longer to re-encode the file. So it's close to real time. But at like 500 megs or 600 megs, that's fantastic, whereas the rate factor of 21 might be an okay compromise, and it might give me a smaller file size. And I should also do 1080p because I do want to see 1080p. But yeah, I think that about... Oh my gosh. I copied and pasted the wrong part of the file name. Sucks. Maybe I can copy and paste the other file name. And like, I changed the file name too. Not only did I, I really changed it before the last copy and paste. So, okay, we're gonna just do this real quick. Whoops, I gotta update that to 1080. So I think I already did a file with this setting on it already. So maybe what I should do is not do one again, but I am curious to see how that turns out. So we gotta tell this not to crop it or not to resize it. We are gonna crop it, but we're not gonna resize it. And we're going to add that one. Then we're going to do another one with a rate factor of 21. Whoa, no, don't close the program. And we're going to, once again, update the thing to rate factor 21 at 1080p. And and we'll do one more at 22, which I think that if you use like a rate factor that is higher and yields more compression, you're also going to see a reduction in quality if you're trying to keep the resolution high. Like the other day, I did a test encode with my Harry Potter game, and with the Hogwarts game, and I set it to like the highest compression possible, and the quality was obscenely low. And then I told my friend I did it at 1080p, and he laughed, because like if you're gonna compress it that much, like with it intentionally, I did this as an experiment, but if you're gonna do it intentionally, you should probably lower it to like 480p at that point, because you'll preserve more quality in the process. So yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna let it encode one file and encode the rest tomorrow, so I can sleep without the computer pumping out heat. Although I gotta say, room gets hotter in the winter time lately, because in the winter, I don't want to run the air conditioner. I don't want my neighbors to think I'm a weirdo, inefficient person who runs the air conditioner in winter. Like, what type of madness is this, But anyway, beyond that, we're gonna go ahead and begin concluding this for real. We're really gonna conclude this video right now. So I do want to thank Spock's Friday Night for dropping in. I want to thank Leonard Nimoy for dropping in. I want to thank Moira Kitty and Wakazashi's Tea House. And tomorrow I have to remember to play the sequel to Crash Dive. Whoa, I want to read my Reddit post all of a sudden. Oh yeah, I got a reminder coming in tomorrow. I have to test out on a hot day if cold showers cool people down, because apparently some people think they don't. Good, the game is downloading right now. Or at least parts of the game are downloading right now. Yeah, my submarine got destroyed. I'm gonna exit the game right now. There we go. I can't find the button. Oh, here we go. YouTube Studio and Restream Studio. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna hit end stream on YouTube first. Thank you for you people on YouTube for watching this stream. You all have a good night if you're tuning in at any point thereafter.